Hi everybody, it's Lori Bradley here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and it is time for lunch with Lori. It's a little crazy around my house right now. I've been cutting paper today for my paper shares that will go out hopefully by Friday. I'm going out of town tomorrow. I'm going to my mom's house for an quick overnight trip. My niece is a homecoming queen candidate, and so I get to go see her in her parade tomorrow and watch her volleyball game tomorrow night. So that's always going to be a little bit fun. But we are almost like legitimately in fall. I believe fall starts next week. Today's the 17th. Doesn't it start like the 20th or 21st? I don't really know. I just know summer is just about gone. So I'm still kind of warm here in St. Louis, but anyway, we are going to continue with fall. We've done Autumn Toile, which is beautiful, but I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say I really think the Gathering Moment Suite, the Gathering Together is actually the suite. It's an online exclusive, and I'm going to say it. I think I like it better than the Autumn Toile, which is probably surprising to most people, but I just think you add some gold foily looks to it, and it is it's really pretty. So let's make some cards. We've got oak leaves, we've got maple leaves, we've got some stamped things, we've got embossing folders. I think it's just a great suite. And for my friends who are watching, I just want you to know one of our cards today is, guess what color? Old olive. So let's get going. Oh, I almost forgot. Oh my goodness. Tomorrow, there is a stamp sale, September 18th. That is the only one 24-hour day, and all stamps are 15% off. It does not include last chance products. So all the other stamps and stamp tools. I'm not super clear on what stamp tools exactly is, but I've been told blocks, chamois, and a couple of other things. Chamois, Stamp and Mist. So we'll just have to wait and see, because it is not on my update from Stampin' Up. So let's get going. Now we really are going to get going. I'll turn you around here. First, I'm going to show you real quick the paper in this suite. It's so pretty. Like, look at these leaves. They're Cajun Craze and Old Olive and Early Espresso. And then the back is a nice Cajun Craze, a little bit more subtle. And this is the exact same pattern as the embossing folder. So that's kind of cool. I made a mess in my floor. I really like this one. It's got some gold, that same leaf pattern. So I like that one. One side, actually this one too, both sides have some gold. Actually, that's not gold. That's just yellow. Never mind. I got excited thinking that there was two sides with gold, but it's not. This one is Basic Beige, Cajun Craze, and Early Espresso. There's some mushrooms and some other little leafy things. Really pretty background. Let's see. I think I just showed you that one. I got paper everywhere. Oh, no, I didn't. We're going to use this one. This one has gold and Cajun Craze. No, it doesn't. It has crushed curry. Sorry. And then Early Espresso. We have some Old Olive Stripe. Kind of two-tone Old Olive with some gold going through it, with just a wood look paper. And I think that's all of them. There's one more, and I used it. I think it's this one. I used this one for a swap, and I don't have very much of it. Nope, that's not it. All right, well, there's one more pattern. So I used it. I do a swap in a training group that I'm in, and so I had to make 20 cards, and I got 20 cards back. And I'm going to show you a couple of those because they are samples of what I've done today. Oh, here's the paper. It's got a basic beige background with crushed curry and a little bit of gold. That was actually my swap card for our swap, but I'm not going to do that one today. So there's that one. There's another swap with the pretty paper, the leaves, and then I guess there may be a little glare because they're still in the packaging. So crushed curry, Cajun Craze, and then this one is kind of the wild card. It's petal pink and brown, which is so pretty as well. All right, so let's get going. Let's make some cards. I've used the embossing folder, and you probably can't see the embossing folder. It's pretty large, and it has those little leaves all the way in a vertical pattern. And then the stamp set and the dies. I actually stamped and die cut my acorn and my leaf so that you didn't have to watch me do that, but I'm gonna stamp it just so you can see the patterns on there. All right, so let's start with our first card. I'm gonna start with a basic beige card base. I'm gonna fold that in half. Okay, now, actually, let me show you my two samples. And if you are watching, there are some people watching. If you're watching, I want an opinion. This is the swap card I received. And it was from a demonstrator named Lisa Harden. And so she used the crushed curry and the basic beige along with this pattern of paper. I'm going to use that, but I'm gonna see what you think. But I think I wanna add a little bit. She used the, I can't remember the name of these sequins. Very pretty, kind of a little bit more monochromatic. I'm going to add, I think, some Cajun Craze. So I'm going to hold it out, and you can look between the two, and you can vote. So hold on to that thought. All right, I've run my basic beige panel through the embossing folder, and then I'm going to put the plaid onto the left side. I'm just going to glue that on with liquid glue. That should hold it. You can use whichever pattern you wanted to here, but I used the plaid because that was what my sample had. All right, now I have cut 2 leaves. I have a Cajun Craze. We're gonna use this one for sure, but I want to, I think, put a little bit of extra color on there with our Cajun Craze. Okay, so tell me what you think. I'm gonna sit these right here for just a second. I'm just gonna park those right there. If you say, if you would like me to use the Cajun Craze, just pop Cajun Craze into the comments really quick. All right, and I'm going to stamp many thanks onto, or if you think I should just leave it as yellow or, you know what, yellow or rust. How about that? We'll make it easy. So if you don't know the names of the colors, then that's okay as well. So this one has a little bit of the offset Cajun Craze. This one just has the yellow. And then I'm gonna stamp many thanks in the in crushed curry ink. And I've got a little strip, but I'm gonna trim it. I'm gonna make it a little bit angled. I'm gonna start it on the left. Hopefully I do this right. All right, then I'm going to take my snips and I'm just gonna cut it at an angle. Make it a little bit fancy, okay? All right, so yes on the Cajun Craze. All right, both. Oh, I have 2 Cajun Crazes and use both. Offset the Cajun Craze a little more so it's more visible. Is that what you're asking? A little bit more like that? I can't go too, because this leaf is so big, I can't go too far. But I will do it about like that. Put it on the back of my leaves. These leaves are so pretty, and they're big enough that they literally can be your focal point on the front, and you don't have to do a whole lot of other stuff. All right, I'm gonna go about that far and hope that's enough. All right, let's go ahead and put this onto our card front so I don't make a bigger mess. If you saw my picture earlier, I went to get my mammogram today. It was very exciting. Not. It took me, the hospital is literally 5 minutes from our house, literally. It took me longer to find a parking spot in the parking garage because it was completely full. I had to come back out of the parking garage and park on the surface lot. I was a little bit irritated. But anyway, it took me longer to find a parking spot than it did to go in, get my mammogram, and drive home. No joke. All right, I'm gonna put this right here. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up. Why not? Let's add a little bit of depth to it. Go ahead and dimensional that. Okay. And if you're looking at my nails today thinking, man, her nails look terrible, they do. They do. My friend Sandra, who does my nails, her father passed away, so we had to postpone our appointment, and so I can't really complain about that, right? I cannot, with a good conscience, say, well, I can't believe she didn't do my nails last week. So it's just one of those things. And I'm going to put this on dimensionals also, but I'm going to put a little bit of glue just on the right side so that it sticks to that leaf and doesn't go uphill. Dimensional this side. I did that because I wanted to use the beautiful Cajun Craze and gold gems that go with the sweet. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to stamp on the leaf. You guys didn't remind me. Okay, pretend like my leaf has this little background stamp, kind of just add a little pattern to your leaf. And I brushed the edge. How did I miss that? Let's see if we can brush the edge of it. I'm gonna be brave and try to do this with it already attached. Goodness gracious. Let me find a piece of scrap paper. Here we go. I'm gonna slide that underneath there just so I'm not brushing onto my card front. And see if we can just brush the edges of our leaf a little bit, just to give it some depth. Goodness gracious. All right, so the scrap paper is not my best idea. Because leaves are all different colors, right? Like they're never one solid color. So we're gonna add some color. And hope I don't get it on my card, which I did. All right, I'll show you my other sample in just a second that's actually, so don't do as Lori does. Make sure that you brush the color onto your onto your leaf before. And then look at this, you have an amazing card that has leaf little prints and gems, the Cajun Craze and gold gems, and everybody's happy. Actually, I think this one will look okay. Nobody's gonna notice. I'll finish it later. So I just think that the Cajun Craze adds just a little bit. It's the exact same card, just a little bit of extra color. Okay, so there's card number 1. All right, now let me grab card number 2. My gems are here on the table somewhere. Maybe. This particular suite has Old Olive and an Early Espresso linen thread, which is also pretty great. All right. Oh, my gems fell off my chair. Yep, we are blaming it on the mammogram that I'm out of whack. But actually, like I said, I've been cutting paper for my paper shares, and I got a little sidetracked. So the gems are Cajun Craze of the little bit of gold fleck. Hopefully you can see that. They're very pretty. Yeah, Cajun Craze and gold dots. So those are my gems today. All right, card number 2. We are gonna go Old Olive. Here we go. Here we go, and I'm gonna add something. I love it when different suites coordinate, when there's something that I can use from suite A on suite B's, cards. So we're gonna do an Old Olive card base. Got that. All right, now I've already cut my pieces, but I have an Early Espresso card base. I've got a white panel. And then I'm gonna put my designer series paper on that. Now I've cut a gold foil leaf, and you can tell this is just the background one. And I've cut the edges because you can't see that from the front. But we're gonna put it behind this leaf. Let me see. And these leaves have the little pokey hole die cuts. So you can put other things behind it so that it'll show through. So we're gonna put this gold foil behind our old olive. So we're gonna have gold shining through. So that'll be pretty. My original sample that I did for my swap, I actually did the other leaf. So I'll show you both leaves as they both have the gold behind them. All right, so this piece of paper I'm gonna glue on. It's just a 2-inch strip of designer series paper. Oh, I almost made another mistake. Goodness, we could have fixed it. But I'm going to stamp directly on my white paper, and I'm gonna do thankful for you right onto my white panel, okay? So I'm gonna do that in early espresso ink. Last night I did it after, I was gonna add an extra die cut onto it and then decided not to. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to stamp thankful for you. If you've been to any of my classes, you know that I told you that every piece of paper has 2 sides until you glue it down. I think that one's pretty good, so we'll leave it at that. But last night, I actually stamped on my paper after it was all attached, and I did it. So, woohoo! I was kind of proud of myself. Much better than my fiasco a few minutes ago. All right, so we're gonna glue this on. You can put it all the way at the edge. And I think, because I stamped it that way, it'll fit better if I put it all the way over there. You could always do a smaller strip if you needed to, but I did 2 inches. And then we're gonna put that directly onto our espresso panel. I don't forget that on Saturday I will post a new share what you've been making thread. I do love that, to see what everybody else is making besides just me. This week's contest, not contest, it's not really a contest, there's no judging, but we will draw a name, or the very unscientific. Last week I had 7 entries. My husband was in the other room and I said, hey Matt, pick a number between 1 and 7, and he said 5. And so Kathy Beauchamp was my champion last week, and she was just lucky number 5. So that is probably how scientific we will do it again. So just show us, put in the comments of that post what you've been making, and whatever number you are, we'll draw some numbers, and if your number wins, then you'll win a prize, probably a fun fold class. But we'll see. It might be something different. It might be a pack of gems. It might be some cards. Every week I hope to make it a little bit different. Okay, so we have our leaf. We have our old olive leaf with our gold, and I'm gonna put that on our card. Actually, let's go ahead and put this down. I did just an 1/8 of an inch border around the outside because I didn't want a huge brown border. I thought that was gonna be kind of, so I thought I would go ahead and just do a tiny one just to give it that little contrast of color. Okay, I'm about to come to a decision-making point again. So be ready in about 30 seconds here. Okay, put this down. And see, I didn't have to cover all of it because I knew that the holes weren't there. So when I had a strip of scrap stuff, I went ahead. Okay, now I'm gonna add an early espresso bow, but in the branching out bundle, which is also in the holiday mini catalog, it has this pretty little, I don't know, I always call these weeds. I don't really know what they are, but these weeds. And I cut a couple of espresso ones, I cut a couple of Cajun Craze ones, and I cut a gold one. But I'm thinking that that might be kind of pretty right there, even a couple of them. But see, there's a gold one right there. I thought that might be kind of pretty coming out behind that bow. So I'm gonna make the bow, and you can tell me whether you like it with the gold piece or without, okay? Hopefully you can see that. my fancy bow tying. Tie my bow. My green hasn't been used nearly as much as my brown because my brown twine I use for my swaps. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna glue this down because we can glue this in there in just a second if we want to. With the gold piece, well, there you go, ladies. We'll just go ahead and we'll do it then. Now, I'm gonna do this a little bit non-conventional. I would probably, if I was gonna glue it all down, put a an adhesive sheet on the back, but I'm gonna try to stick it down and put a glue dot on the front, and then that'll hold both my, hopefully, we'll see. I'm gonna put the glue dot right there, right in that little gap. I stick it down, and I might put just a dot of glue behind this dot. Try not to squeeze like a whole bucket full of glue. And they don't all have to be down. I just didn't want to glue them all down. So there's a little bit of, all right, so I've got it stuck to the glue dot here. I've got that piece. I'm gonna go ahead and use another glue dot for my ribbon. And since it's linen thread, the glue dot is a little bit big. So I'm gonna peel my glue dot off, and I'm gonna stick that, roll it up, and stick it to the back of the knot. And that's gonna cover up that little piece right there. Okay, so there it is with, I'm gonna turn my bow that way a little bit so it's, my words don't get covered. There we go. All right, so I think the gold adds a nice little extra. It zhuzhes it up. A little zhuzh. Okay, now I'm gonna add some of the golden Cajun Craze dots. You could put I put my other ones on this side. I'm gonna try to put some out on our open side this time. Let's put one down here, and then maybe a couple. I'll put one up here. I don't know about putting them on the leaf. I think that might be not what I want to do. So there's 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, which always makes me happy. I'll put this one on here too. All right, so there's our gems, and it just adds a little bit of extra. And I'm probably, you know what, even the Cajun Craze one on there would probably be nice. I'll have to stick it down later. All right, card number 2. Now, card number 3 is, I'll show you the sample that I had. This one was a swap from a demonstrator named Dawn Bourgette, and she had a Cajun Craze background. That was the actual card. And most of you know I'm a matter. Like, I love to have a matte, so it looks like it's a different, you know, just, it adds an extra little layer. So my card looks just like this, except I'm gonna use a matte. And I'm gonna use a white matte. And I've cut my strips. I've got 5 strips of 1 inch. And since I made a matte, instead of having 1 by 4, I cut it down to 1 by 3 3/4, just so they fit a little more nicely on our thing. You can flip these over. You can use whatever side you want. This is the same, so one of those has to go upward. And these 2 are the same, so I'll do one of those like that also. And I have die cut an oak leaf. I was trying to think for a second what that is. I stamped that in crushed curry. And then I have an early espresso acorn. Okay, so we've got that. Our first thing, I'm gonna fold my card base. I do want to show you though, stamping those so you can see the, it's almost like a texture, and it's the distinctive type of stamp. Well, let's get this glued on before I get too crazy. All right, there's no right way. There's no right. You can just kind of lay them on there, tuck them under. However you want. Build from the outside, build from the inside, whatever your pattern, as Colin used to say, whatever pattern you would like. Okay, I'm gonna start with my right side, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start gluing. If you start from one end, I do love this pattern. It's so pretty and elegant, but it's not fitting my color scheme on this card. So I'm gonna use the back, which is a little bit crazy. So let's put that guy on there and tuck him inward. There we go. And this could be any patterns. You could use bright colors, and this could be a birthday card. This could be a thank you card. This could be a happy birthday. You know what, let's go ahead and do this one on this end also, and that way I've spaced things properly. And that way I don't have a big white space on this side and not on this side. Let's go. Okay, and then we'll just start going random here. Or you can build from the outside too. Outward, you know, from the outside in, and then part of that will be hidden and nobody will even know that this one was crooked or that one wasn't or whatever. And we'll do this guy straight or semi-straight. Thanks, Sandy. Sandy, I'm glad you found me. Oh, I put that on the wrong end. Oh dear. I was talking. Okay, hang on. Lucky for me, I have my paper trimmer and a piece of already cut strip from last night. Let's try this again. This one I want the brown to be the focus, not the green and gold. Try this again. And I didn't put them like along the same anything. They're all sort of cattywampus, and the angles, if you don't like the way it looks that way, maybe you like that side better. They're falling leaves, and the other patterns don't necessarily matter. And then we're going to glue that piece down. Yes, we are. All right, so stamp sale tomorrow. And let's see, I'm going to open, I think, another round of paper shares over the next week or so and I'll order October 1st, just so we can, if people want to see those or want those, we'll still have that available. One more round. All right, your friendship means the world to me. Nice fall card. Hopefully I can fit it on this paper I did last night. There we go. Someone just drove through my driveway who does not live here or belong here. They turn around in our circle drive all the time. Makes us crazy. He's lucky I was busy, or I would have yelled at him. All right, I'm gonna put this right about here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on dimensionals. You can use big dimensionals, small dimensionals, cut in half dimensionals, whatever kind you have. Okay, I'm just gonna put that maybe right about there. Now I have my oak leaf, and you can see like the shading on the leaf, and then the acorn, same way. That's the distinctive style. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on my acorn. I'm gonna place it on my leaf. Just like that. And then we're going to attach that right there. So again, I'm going to use my dimensionals, and if I need to, I'll put a little bit of glue on that side just to hold it down on our sentiment piece. And that's just a rectangle. That could be any shape that you wanted, any banner. I just made it simple because these are simple rectangles, and I just kind of carried that theme right over. All right, now it needs a bow, and for this one I think I'll use the old olive so it stands out a little more. I might turn into a fall girl before this season is over. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how that works out for me. Not sure, because then I'm gonna slide right into the Christmas season. If you know, well, most of you don't know my husband, but he's a Halloween fanatic. He loves Halloween, and we have 2 Halloween trees. We have a smaller one in our front window, and then a full-size Christmas tree size Halloween tree in our family room. Those are both up and decorated, and he waited as long as he possibly could. And so we are moving on to Halloween, and then we will move on to Christmas. Although in my world, we've already done, you know, we've been doing Christmas for a while. And so I will show you when those come along, when our tree, we have 7 trees at our house, and so when those go up, I will be sure to show you pictures, because that's our fun. Halloween is Halloween is his thing, Christmas is mine. All right, so there's our bow. I might have made that a little big, but we're committed, so we're going with it. When you're doing it on the fly, it takes much more, it's more stressful, because then if you change your mind, it's too late. Too late. I'm going to put my gems on. Put one there. Maybe one. And one. Oop, I didn't pick it up. And one there. All right, so there. So that's my card, and then the original sample. Just kind of blended in a little more, I thought. You don't have to pick your favorite, because I don't want anybody to be, you know, but I thought that it just needed a little more contrast instead of blending those stripes into the card. And then let's see, I showed you my other samples. So there's card number 2, and then card number 1. So we have our 3 cards for this week. If you place a $50 order tomorrow during the stamp sale on my website, then you'll get a fun fold class, and I will send you at least one of these cards along with that. So a pre-made one, so you don't, or I can actually send you the pieces, I just can't stamp it for you. All right, so stamp sale tomorrow. Let's see, paper share will stay open through October 1st for the 2nd round, and look forward to October 1st. Last year I did 31 projects in 31 days. I do plan to revive that little plan. So we're gonna, for the month of October, do 31 cards or 31 projects. It might not all be cards in 31 days. So thank you for watching me today. I will look forward to seeing you all next week. And next week, I don't know what we're making yet. So if you have a request, let me know. Send me a text, send me a message. Tell me what bundle you'd like to see, and we'll make it happen. So have a great day, everybody. I'll see you next time.